Welcome to the module on activity-based costing. Learning objectives. Need for activity-based costing. How an activity-based costing system works. Traditional absorption costing was developed when manufacturers produced only a narrow range of products, so that products underwent similar operations. Hence, they were assigned similar proportions of overhead using a common base for apportionment of the overhead expenditure, for example, labor hours, machine hours, etc. With the advancement in manufacturing technology, overhead costs have become a much larger proportion of total production costs. Many resources are used in non-volume related activities. These overhead costs are due to resources used in support activities that are not affected by changes in the production volume. This resulted in high-volume products getting a higher proportion of overheads and low-volume products getting too smaller a proportion of overheads. In view of this, traditional absorption costing methods could not allocate the overheads appropriately. Hence, the concept of activity-based costing is developed. Activity-based costing is mostly used in the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing processes lead to a demand for support activities. Such support activities drive the costs. In activity-based costing, costs are assigned on the basis of products consumption of these costs. Kindly note, activity-based costing only mentions the cost apportionment of overhead and indirect costs. All costs which are direct and form a part of prime cost is not covered under the scope of activity-based costing. Activity-based costing is a costing method that assigns overhead and indirect costs to related products and services. It captures nearly true costs and better classification of the costs incurred by the company during its production process. This accounting method of costing recognizes the relationship between costs, overhead activities, and manufactured products, assigning indirect costs to products less arbitrarily than traditional costing methods. An activity-based costing system operates as follows. First, all activities which are necessary to create the product or render the service are identified. Next, we have to separate each activity into its own cost pool and determine the total overhead of each cost pool. A cost pool is a group of individual costs associated with an activity. Then, we have to identify a factor that has the most influence on the cost of the activity. They are cost drivers. One of the most important steps is to identify the appropriate cost driver for each and every activity and cost pools. For each cost pool, we have to calculate an absorption rate per unit of cost driver. This can be calculated by dividing the total cost pool by the total number of activities for that cost driver. We have to charge overhead costs to products for each activity on the basis of their usage of the activity. Activity-based costing facilitates a good understanding of what drives overhead costs. Hence, it enhances the reliability of cost data. It helps organizations to more accurately set a price in accordance with their production cost. Following two formats to be used as a standard in computing any problem on activity-based costing. Table number 1, identification of cost per activity. Table number 2, computation of total cost of manufacturing a product. Kindly add more columns once the number of products are beyond 2. In this video, we understood how the traditional absorption costing methods failed to allocate overheads in modern manufacturing industries, which led to evolution of activity-based costing method. We also learned How activity-based costing system functions.